bukan mana-mana tempat sini juga. Kira Hongkong pun sini, Sungai pun sini, mati tanam pun sini. Mana lagi tempat? Pasal saya orang sini juga, bukan mana-mana tempat. Itu pasal saya orang tak mau lain tempat pergi. Pasal kita punya tempat ini.
Famous on the European tour. ESPN's got racing.
C.com still traditional media.
I'm up when the cameras hit you, you got them.
Malaysia in the new millennium. So many people, so many different worlds. We all share the same planet, but many are totally unaware of their place in this fragile ecosystem. Living as we do in a man-made environment where stress and pollution often bring out the worst in people. Too many rules can make people unruly. But who makes these rules?
Jatuhkan kerajaan yang dipilih oleh rakyat.
Who passes laws for others to obey? Why do they call it the law of the jungle? In the wilderness, there are no laws, but the law that governs all living things. There is a natural balance in the ecosystem, but human activities have seriously disturbed this harmony. Some call it progress and development. Others call it greed, an excuse to grab what we can without a thought for future generations, or for those who have lived in harmony with the forest since the beginning of time. So, who is above the law? 7 kilometers from the historic town of Kuala Kubu Baru, the largest reservoir dam in the country is being constructed. At 115 meters high, the Selangor Dam will plug up the last free-flowing river in the state and flood an area the size of Subang Jaya. The dam reservoir will hold 235 million tons of water to supply the needs of the Klang Valley. People downstream of the dam will never sleep in peace again, especially those who remember a dam disaster which destroyed the original town of Kuala Kubu in 1883. This is the Sungai Selangor Dam. The government gave the mega project the green light weeks before the Department of Environment approved the Environmental Impact Assessment Report. However, certain organizations are dissatisfied with the EIA.
This is not supposed to be the usual practice, but it happens now because the EIA report has become an eyewash. It's become a rubber stamp for projects which totally degrade the environment. The EIA has become just a procedure to be followed. It's no longer something to be complied with and an approval to be obtained before you go ahead with the project. Nowadays, the developers do an EIA, but the project is a free derivation and they proceed without the EIA, which is of course a total misreading of the law and a total misunderstanding, because the EIA report is supposed to be approved first and then the project should be done. It's all started with Bakum.
The residents of Kampong Kuantan, a quiet riverine village at the mouth of the Selangor River, are worried about their future, and rightly so.
50 tahun dulu lebih kurang pokok berembang ni sampai ke muara sungai. Tapi sekarang ini sudah banyak habis pupus. Kita bergerak hampir 8 km ke dalam baru kita dapat pokok berembang lah. Bahkan saya gunakan dayung untuk mengekalkan alam semula jadi inilah. Tapi kalau empangan dibina, lama-lama pokok berembang pun habis. Bagi tersia saja dah cara gunakan dayung ni. Kebimbangan saya, dam ni akan siap besok. Kemungkinan saya ni cukup susahlah untuk menyara 6 orang anak. Sebab mata pencarian saya hanya 9. Apabila lagi empangan ni sudah siap, klik-klik pun akan habis juga. Jadi saya nak buat macam mana kan?
Scientists with the Malaysian Nature Society have expressed concern that the dam will cause increased salinity at the river's mouth, and eventually the extinction of the berumbang trees would support these firefly colonies. Kuala Selangor is one of only 2 places on Earth where fireflies can be viewed in such glorious profusion. It would indeed be tragic if future generations can only read about this miracle of nature. An 8 million ringgit a year cockle industry will also be threatened by the Selangor Dam project. Zoologists point out that invertebrate wildlife will be affected by the artificial fluctuation of high and low flow, which could prove too drastic a change for these creatures. Fishes and their spawn will suffer from this man-made obstruction. Inevitably, the fishing communities will suffer severe loss of income, and the population of birds downstream will dramatically decrease.
This will be the dam. This is the dam site, and this will be the dam structure that they are trying to build. And right in front of me is basically, it used to be a whitewater rafting and ecotourism center. It's now being completely destroyed by the project. And this jungle used to host more than 250 species of birds. And research have found that we have more than 20 species of endangered animals. And the inundation of this 600 hectares, equivalent to the size of Subang Jaya, will basically change a lot to the ecosystem, where we have forced migration of animals. Basically, all these animals will have nowhere to go because most of the forest in the Selangor state has been developed or logged to a certain extent.
So in the EIA report, what you might say as the detailed analysis, they stated that they found more than 20 endangered species, as my friend Sam said. But in the conclusion in the EIA report itself, they said no new species or no endangered species found. So this is a direct contradiction between the conclusion and the detailed analysis. If they found something that they don't like, you find that the conclusion tries to undermine it or says totally something different, like just now. And this is in general in most EIAs like that. They found something they don't like, the conclusion will say something else.
And of course, the question of dam safety has not been answered. The EIA report acknowledges that a dam breach would be catastrophic, but offers no contingency or evacuation plans for those living downstream of the dam. The dam site itself is classified a high erosion risk area, and some have pointed out that the dam wall will be dangerously close to a seismic fault line identified in a 1950s geological study of the area.
I've been living here with Orang Asli since 1992, and from what I understand of their folklore and mythology, they believe that the landscape is actually the flesh of their ancestor gods, the rocks, the rivers, the mountains, and so this area to them is keramat. It means sacred. So when you see this destruction that is going on in the name of construction, it really hurts their psyche. It hurts mine too, because this area is my home now, and the Asli believe that there are all these guardian spirits, the Orang Halus, the invisible people, and Penunggus. They believe the rivers are protected by dragons. And if you've ever seen the river in full flood, it really is like an angry dragon. Well, with all the logging that has been happening here over the years, we get a lot of landslides. And then there are stockpiles of old logs building up. And this is a disaster waiting to happen. So all this recent flash floods we've been getting, where do you think the water is coming from? And why do you think this area is called a watershed?
Mula-mula dia bikin sama dia timak dia orang, saya punya nenek dulu dia cakap pukul 1 ke pukul 2 dia timbak. Itu orang tengah malam pukul 1 itu dia tengok, mula-mula dia tengok itu buaya, dia tengok putih itu jam dia ambil senapang dia tembak sama dia. Pukul 1 ke pukul 2 itu empang banyak pecah. Semua orang dulu ujung kelapa ke mana dia, semua orang mati. Kalau dia tak ada tembak itu buaya putih, dia orang tak ada mati.
Stories of angry dragons can also be interpreted in scientific terms. Water is an extremely powerful force, and when it flows rapidly downhill, gathering vast amounts of debris, rocks, trees, and anything in its destructive path, it acts like a battering ram. Nothing can stand in its way. When the dam is built, 235 million tons of water will be held back in an area which was originally dry. The pressure exerted on the bedrock is unimaginable. RIS, or reservoir-induced seismicity, becomes a very real hazard. It can cause earthquakes where none have ever occurred before. Reservoir-induced seismicity can cause tremors miles away from the epicenter. A huge reservoir located in Kuala Kubu Baru can be a threat to residents of Kuala Lumpur, where many high-rise structures have been built on porous limestone. In recent years, citizen action groups around the world have begun speaking out passionately against large dam projects. Anything over 15 meters is considered large. At 115 meters, the Selangor Dam would be categorized as a major dam.
雪兰莪州水供第3期工程呢，在一定的幅度上引起了社会各阶层人士的注意。我认为有必要，身为雪州行政议员，也是新古毛州议员，那么把整个事情呢，那么它的这个水供工程所带来的影响和政府在这方面怎样去面对这个影响和怎样的法子来克服一些负面的问题呢，那么做一个交代。那一个地方呢，住家并不很多，那么有一些原住民，就是我们所讲的 Orang Asli 在那边，而这个 Orang Asli 的数目呢，也只有75家。原住民会说，我们喜欢原来的生活，一样的，每个人都是这样。如果你没有改变，永远这样，他认为一切很好。一有改变的时候呢，他会排斥这种改变。从小孩子一直到大人都是如此。但是作为州政府，我们不能够顺从这种排斥改变的态度，我们需要改变，特别是这个改变是为了人类更好的明天。那么在经过研究的时候呢，我们发觉这个水荒呢，在2003年会更加严重，因为届时呢，到2003年的时候呢，我们每一天需要31亿5100万加仑的水，也就是等于说，到2003年。如果这个问题没有克服的话，我们每一天缺少的水呢是12300万加仑。
We think no. We think that first of all, the projected water demand of Klang Valley has been exaggerated. It's not clear from the EIA where the statistics have come from. They say that there's an increasing water need in the future years, but we do not know where exactly. No statistics have been given. No proper justification for that kind of a finding has been given. That the EIA failed to look into was demand side management, which means basically managing the demand for water in terms of managing leaks, stealing water, non-revenue water, basically improving the entire system as it exists now to prevent pilfering of water, usage of water without paying it. Dam is not the only solution.
Leaky pipes and water thefts in Selangor account for 38 to 45% of its annual consumption of water. This is a stunning figure, yet little has been done to correct the problem at its roots before harvesting more water.
And so it's like having a hole in the pocket. No matter how much money you put in there, you'll always be broke. There'll never be enough until they fix those leaks.
Rainwater collection has been proven thoroughly effective in other drier regions of the world. About 95% of each household's daily water usage goes into washing and cleaning. Almost all Malaysians use clean pipe water to wash their cars, clothes, and to water their plants.
Well, corruption and inefficiency go hand in hand. We pay civil servants to do a job, and their job is to make sure that we have water supply, power supply, and so on. But what do? They farm out the contracts to their nephews and nieces. Now people are going to close an eye to all this kind of stuff as long as the service is maintained, but as soon as we start having to pay extra, that's when people are going to be very unhappy. Well, the Chinese, they call water, they have a slang for water, is soy, it means water, which shows how valuable water is. So in a few years' time, there's going to be a very, very serious shortage of water all over the planet. What do we do then? No? Do we move to Mars?
The tribal elders say Selangor state was named by their legendary ancestor Mama Bongsu. In Temuan, the word Selangor means dangling. It's also the name of a fruit found in these forests. They believe humanity began life anew after the Great Flood in the vicinity of Gunung Raja, which they call Pusat Negeri, or Navel of the Nation. The area that will be affected is, in fact, the ancestral heartland of the Temuan. This is where they have buried their dead for thousands of generations. Seeing their beloved landscape being drowned by the rising dam waters will break their spirit. The Temuan will slowly vanish as a distinct tribe. An ancient prophecy says that when the Orang Asli are no longer visible, the world will end, for they are indeed the taproot of the tree of humanity. How long can a tree survive once its roots are destroyed?